I'm introducing, along with Councilmembers Nadeau and Robert White, the Critical Risk Rate School Funding Designation Act of 2019, Amendment Act of 2019. The stated purpose of this bill is to create a new category to allow for additional funding to schools that have at-risk student population of 70% and above. Throughout the FY20 budget process, it became apparent that the challenges the District of Columbia has adequately funding has with adequately funding schools that have significant needs. The chairman made great efforts in adding additional $5.3 million enhancement to the 31 schools whose budget reflected net loss in the mayor's FY20 proposed budget and financial plan. We've also increased the per pupil funding. This effort was a one-time fix. However, we need an ongoing solution. It has been difficult to add additional money to the schools that needed the most due to constraints of the school funding formula. That is highly controversial. These inequitable allocations highlight the need to adjust the school funding formula to ensure that schools who overwhelmingly serve at-risk students are funded appropriately. This bill creates a new funding mechanism within the current funding structure that evaluates the schools as a whole in addition to the individual student enrollment. The new funding structure will create a category called critical at-risk. This category would allow additional funding per student if the school total at-risk population exceeds 70%. Currently, the new funding structure will impact 18 Ward 8 schools, 14 Ward 7 schools, 5 Ward 6 schools, 4 Ward 5 schools, 3 Ward 4 schools, and 1 Ward 1 school. This bill does not set the amount that the school will receive for being a part of the new critical at-risk rate. The amount will be set in a subsequent bill. It also is important to note that these two bills scheduled for a hearing this week, the at-risk School Funding Transparency Amendment Act of 2019 and the School-Based Budgeting and Transparency Amendment Act of 2019 are different because this bill focuses on changing the funding structure while the other bills are primarily focused on reporting and transparency within the current structure. I welcome any co-sponsors.
Thank you, Councilmember White. Are there co-sponsors? Councilmember Gray. This bill will be referred to sequentially to the Committee on Education and then the Committee as a whole.